This episode of Sports Addict Live, the NHL Show, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. From now until January the 4th, First Round Collectibles has thousands of sports cards. That's right, thousands on sale for up to 50% off. Also, for Sports Addict Live listeners, use the code Sports Addict for 10% off on top of your discount. If it's 20% off, you get it for 30. If it's 30, you get it for 40, 50, 50. That's right, 60% off. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com and find your heroes. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard.
And welcome, Sports Addict Live, the NHL Show. John, what's so funny up there, bro? I'm seeing you freaking smirking.
My friend sent me something right before we got on the air that I couldn't contain myself.
I'm like talking, and I'm like, is there like something in my beard or like what?
No, my friend does Uber Eats on the side for a little bit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's driving today.
Yeah.
And like he texted me and this other friend of mine that one of his customers ordered like one thing of whole gallon milk to get delivered to his house. The most random item I've ever heard of.
You gotta wash down those wings with something, man. I got you. Yo, Andre, how you doing tonight, bro?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited for hockey today. I'm excited for the weekend, obviously. I'm excited for Tommy DeVito to go to Philly and show out, but we'll talk about that another time, you know?
Oh, boy. I mean, the Birds opened at minus 10.5, and now it's minus 13.5, which you think would make me feel good, but doesn't.
They're going the wrong way. Vegas doesn't know ball.
That's right. Well, we know puck. Segue. John, what's your takeaway from last night, man? Just three games to choose from. Nothing crazy, but you got to have something.
I think I'm going to go with the late night game, Seattle and Los Angeles. Yesterday, I thought was very telling with what the betting lines were in that game. And I think it's just a lesson on the Los Angeles side. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Because the puck line yesterday was about plus 140. And I think with considering the records and success of Los Angeles and Seattle this year, I think people would have been tempted to jump on that puck line a little bit. But Seattle ended up winning the game outright. Andre and I got on that one a little early. And I think it's just a time where like Los Angeles got trapped on that back-to-back, feeling good about themselves winning over our Sharks. But I was impressed Seattle came out yesterday. And despite being worried near the end that they were going to blow that game, I'm sorry, Mark, I know you live betted that game near the end. I was kind of hoping you would pull that out.
Foolish on my part. Foolish. But that's all right. We win and we learn. We win and we lose. We win and we learn. You know how it goes. Sorry, John, I cut you off.
No, that's about it for me. Just kind of if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Seattle just had that sneaky good bet last night and came up with a nice road win.
They played really well. That was a really sound game by them, really tight game by them. Andre, what do you got, bro?
My lone takeaway is something I should have seen coming because I mentioned it yesterday and I wanted to talk about it yesterday. I said that I thought Capitals Islanders was going to be a 3-2 game. I said I thought it might go to overtime. And for some reason, the only blemish of my day yesterday was picking the Islanders instead of the Capitals, and I'm a fool because I wanted to mention how the Islanders yesterday had the same number of regulation losses as overtime losses. They were 15-8-8, more total losses than wins, by the way. Now they're 15-8-9, so they have more overtime losses than regulation losses. Which I have two questions now for you two. One, do you think it's possible that they finish out this season with more overtime losses than regulation losses? We're like 40% of the way through, and they're up right now. So that's one. Two, do you think they're going to get enough losers points to make the playoffs? Because that's really what's keeping them in right now. They have 9 points in losses. They're 15-17 if you take away the OT point.
Yeah, so it's like, wouldn't that be hilarious if they made it to the playoffs and they had more overtime losses than, like, if both things were true? I do think that if that happens, I do think they'll make it in, man. I do. I'm just waiting to see who falls out. Like, who else like drops off. I don't know. But the way this team plays, man, is either like a lockdown defensive game and they can't score enough goals, or it's like a super fast run and gun game and they're giving up too many goals. It's like really hard. It's really hard to see. John, where do you fall on that?
I'm leaning no for both. I'm having fun with this idea that the Islanders have more overtime losses right now than regulation losses. I think it would take a lot to keep that up for the rest of the season, but I am having fun with that stat, which I didn't fully realize until Andre pointed it out last night. But I'm also leaning no. I'm really still not sold on the Islanders making the playoffs. I feel like they're holding someone else's spot right now. Call me optimistic, biased Devils fan. I still think the Devils are better than the Islanders, and I think the Hurricanes are better than the Islanders too. I realize neither team is playing that well right now, but I mean, we still have 60% of the season left. I haven't seen quite enough for the Islanders in this very competitive Eastern Conference, I'll add, to like make me convinced they're going to be one of the last teams standing at the end.
I guess the thing is, John, is like, for me, I'm beginning to think that like Carolina and New Jersey, that these teams are just kind of like what they are now. And they're going to look awesome, and then they're going to not look awesome. And it's going to be this where, like, the Islanders win or lose, they're getting a point every night. It's like, this is kind of who they are now. You know what I mean? But moving on to bad beats, and Andre, what do you got for bad beats? I feel like we might have the same one. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Or is that
I mean,
basically the Islanders?
the Islanders' existence is my bad beat. I don't. It was a light day yesterday. Nothing really too crazy happened. For me, it would have to be the Islanders losing in OT, just because that's the only thing I really got wrong for hockey for the day. But it's almost a bad beat on myself because I knew going in that they had a tendency to lose in overtime, and I still picked them to win like a fool. I guess they have 3 OT wins and a shootout win, but should have seen it coming. I should have known that they were going to tie it, just get that point, and then hurt me in every way possible. So, yeah, we'll stay in the nation's capital for my bad beat.
Yeah, I'm pretty lockstep with you on that bad beat. The only additional bad beat I had was like you mentioned, John, I live betted the Kings to win in the second intermission. But actually, you know what? I'm glad that I did it then, because if I did it after they were down 2-0, then I would have been like, I might as well put it like an extra $10 more than I was going to on this, because they're going to win and the odds or whatever. I was really surprised with how the Kings finished off that game. I thought the Kings had a perfect chance to tie it up. That goaltender, he's okay, but he stood on his head last night. He was phenomenal. But that penalty kill, like you had the power play at the end of the game, you pull the net, and they didn't have the puck for longer than 10 seconds. Like they were just shooting and making like sloppy passes. They weren't setting up anything, and it's 2-1. And here I am with like plus 230 Kings comeback win ticket, and I'm just watching the TV like, what are you guys doing? Like, I literally had a large pizza to myself tonight. I'm not like fit. I'm not an NHL player. Like I'm disgusting, and I eat way too much junk food. And I know that that's not how you run a power play at the end of a game. Like I can tell you that. And I'm gross. So you need to figure that out. But John, what was your bad beat for the night?
Okay, I think this is going to be the one time in the history of this podcast that I really didn't have one.
Look at you.
Because, like, I swear yesterday, just sports in general, everything lined up about the way I wanted it to. I mean, yesterday's picks, I went 5-0. I know that'll never happen again. If I somehow match that today in this slate of games, people need to retire off bets. I'm expecting to have a bad night to like get back to reality here.
Nah, man.
We don't do that here.
And on top of this, Seton Hall won last night in college basketball. So
you're heating up, man. The
I'm
Stars
on
are
cloud nine for sports at the moment.
No, the stars are aligning for you, bro. I love it.
It's your time.
I'm gonna double back real quick. My my takeaway watching that Jets game last night, we talked about it a couple times. When Connor went down, it was like, oh no, because he was a beast and he was carrying that team. The depth on that team and that trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois, sending him to the Kings, the pieces they got back, Velarde, Tiafalo, like those guys, like the depth on that team is phenomenal. And like Ehlers, Scheifele, Velarde, Perfetti, like all those guys are stepping up right now. And the goaltending, like we all know Hellebuck, right? The guy is what, like top 5 goalie in the league. Like you can probably convince me like maybe top 3, but definitely top 5, right? But like on the season, 4-3, 2.49 goals against, 911 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Like that is a backup goaltender that a playoff contender has, right? So I just love the depth on this team. I think the whole city of Winnipeg deserves this. They've had the team taken away from them once, and the way season tickets have been going the last couple of years, it wasn't looking pretty. And that was a huge conversation here over the summer. It's like, if this Winnipeg team doesn't figure it out, like they could, like it would not be surprising if this team moved again. So to see them just having a terrific year, first place in the division right now.
Ooh,
which
Winnipeg's getting hot without Connor.
Yeah, man, they're looking good, bro, and I'm happy to see it. My friends in Winnipeg, I was gonna say I'm proud of you, but you did nothing. It's it's the team that I'm proud of, and that was really fun to see last night. A whole other like takeaway could be Detroit.
6 out of 7 now. They're really trending downward.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to lose faith because I love that team. I love watching that team, but I don't know. But that's a conversation for after the holidays, because tonight we have 1 million games, roughly. So we'll get right into it. Oh boy. Starting off just a 2-hour drive south of where I currently am. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in Buffalo. I was telling the guys before the show, promise you, minimum 75% Leaf fans in the building tonight for sure. It's going to be mayhem. If you have the chance to watch it, it's going to be crazy. Minus 148, the Maple Leafs are favored. Buffalo plus 124. Minus 1.5 on the puck line. Leafs are plus 150. Buffalo plus 1.5 on the puck line is minus 180. Over 6.5, minus 148. Think they're expecting some goals tonight or what? And the under 6.5 is plus 124, which in recent memory, I think is the craziest over under odds that I've seen, like recently anyway. I'm sure not like ever. All right, as we do talking about each other's favorite teams, I'll go first here. I'm really nervous about this game. As a fan, I am not jacked up. I'm not Leafs winning by 5. Like we talked about this. Number one, Buffalo only beats good teams, and the Leafs are a good team. That's number one. Number two, Buffalo got embarrassed. That's an understatement. What's a worse word than embarrassed? I don't even know. But that last game at home against Columbus was just disgusting. That's a worse word than embarrassed. Disgusting. That's how bad it was. Like losing 9-4. I want to sit here and tell you, Leafs puck line, it'll be easy. That absolutely could happen. Obviously, none of us will be surprised if like the Leafs win this game like 5-2, 6-2, 6-3, something like that. I just watch this team all the time, and the amount at which they play down to their competition is alarming. And if you're a team like the Leafs that wants to be taken seriously as a cup contender, you have to destroy them tonight. Like kick them while they're down. That building is going to be, like I said, all Leaf fans. Like take control of this game and just destroy them. My favorite bet for this game isn't puck line, money line, anything like that, but Levi, goaltender for Buffalo, over 3.5 goals scored against him is plus 120. And why I like that bet is for Toronto to score over 3.5 goals is minus 135. And the over, like we saw, is like aggressively priced. So if you think the Leafs will score a lot of goals, which they will, but you don't want to commit to the Leafs winning, I like the over 3.5 on Levi plus 120. Both teams to score in the first period plus 130. Over 7.5, excluding overtime, plus 150. And just for fun, Toronto has a terrific power play. Matthews has 11 power play points on the year, plus 210 for him to score a power play point. Rant over. Andre, am I just like a fan who's been burned too many times, or am I onto something here?
I think you're just terrified of the sleeping saber that randomly wakes, especially after losses.
Yep.
And I understand it. I get it. You know, I've been burnt by them too. You look at their wins, there aren't a lot, but they include the Islanders, the Avalanche, the Flyers, the Maple Leafs 6-4 in Toronto. You know, the Penguins, the Rangers 5-1 in the Garden. The Bruins 3-1 in TD Garden, Vegas 5-2 in T-Mobile Arena, and that was last Friday. what is up with this team?
I know.
Like, we said it the other day when they played Columbus. Bizarre team, can't beat bad teams, plays well against good teams, but you never know what you're going to get, so you don't even know if they're going to beat good teams. They just kind of exist. They float. I think I'm at the point where I'd rather get burnt betting on Buffalo than get burnt by betting against them. So I think I'm going to roll with the Sabres money line. I'd rather just... I think it's worth the risk at this point. Like, I'd rather just, if they lose, oh, well, it's the Sabres. I took a chance. If they win, they won. They played a good team. They only show up when the lights are bright or something. I don't know. Give me the Sabres. I really like the over, too. I understand why Vegas has it so high. Almost makes me want to take the under, but Toronto's playing high-scoring games lately. I think it was 8 of their last 9 have had at least 7 goals. So there's a reason the odds are like that.
So real quick, before we get to you, John, the 60-minute line for Buffalo is plus 180. Now, Toronto finds a way to get into overtime. It kind of makes me nervous. Like, they were losing 5-0 going into the third period, and it went to overtime. Like, you just never know. But are you taking, because I thought plus 124. I know they're at home, but I thought that was low. Like, for me, I thought that it would be higher. You looking at that 60-minute puck line at all, or just like take the plus 124 and leave well enough alone?
Take the plus 124. I'm not gambling. I'm not gambling any more on this Sabres team than I need to.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. John, what do you see, man?
I think I'm with Andre on this one. I'm picking against the Leafs here. I like this. Buffalo makes me nervous as a team to back, but I like them in this spot with the money line they're getting here. The main reason is less statistical and more situational. The way I'm looking at this is a perfect bounce back spot for Buffalo for a couple of reasons. A, they got their butt spanked on Tuesday. They gave up 9 goals, probably one of the most wild, crazy, weird, crooked games I've seen all year with Columbus and Buffalo. But they're coming off that now to play their rival, Toronto. And this is a geographical rivalry considering the distance between the two cities. Mark mentioned that there's probably going to be a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs fans there. I think that's a spot Buffalo can wake up and win just because they want to get their house back. They want to get their team back in order after the loss on Tuesday night. And also, I think it's a critical point in the Sabres season. I mean, they're like bottom 4 in the Eastern Conference right now. I think they need this game desperately and to go into Christmas on a high note. They got the Leafs at home and then the Rangers on Saturday. I'm a little worried about the Leafs like trying to coast into Christmas break because they got Buffalo and then they got Columbus and then there's the break. So I could weirdly see Toronto losing this game. So I'm going to take Buffalo the money line just because of the situation. And after Tuesday night, I'm not touching the over-under. Toronto just will screw me on that.
That's why you take the over, John. You'd rather get burned by not enough goals than by betting the under, man. And sorry, one last thought, just because like my team, and I'm just like thinking here, I do kind of think that the 80% Leaf fans, which is a fact, by the like, I'm not even exaggerating. Watch you, and I almost think this is perfect for Buffalo because they got booed off the ice. The coach like chanting to fire the coach. I think the less Buffalo fans, the better. I think that they need a like road game to like just get away from home and just like take a break. And this is basically a road game. And it's not strange for this to happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like this is like the Chargers of the NHL. Like, it happens every time Toronto comes to town. So that might be good for Buffalo. Just, hey, they're cheering for the Leafs. We got them off our back, and we can take a break for tonight. All right. Moving on to Florida, Sunrise, Florida. Minus 218 favorites. Home against St. Louis. Plus 185. So it's actually now minus 225 for Florida and plus 185 for St. Louis. Wow. On the puck line, minus 1.5 is plus 114, which is like nothing for a puck line. Plus 114. My plus 1.5 is minus 135. The over-under is 6.5 at minus 110. Either way you bet it. John, what do you see in this game?
I think I'm seeing the end of the dead cat bounce for St. Louis. Tampa Bay, I think, wiped away any momentum St. Louis had left from that, and we're going to start seeing St. Louis come back down to earth, in my opinion. And I think the line reflects it. It's coming off as an easy Florida win, and I kind of agree with it. Like, Florida's a top 5 goaltending team, goals allowed per game, and St. Louis in the bottom 10. St. Louis is a god-awful power play. I think near the bottom of the league, maybe even last, like 10% this year. Florida has an over 80% penalty kill. I like that a lot for them. And like I said, I just think the momentum from the new coach hires come to an end. The Florida puck line is saying a lot for me. I would comfortably bet that.
What about you, Andre?
I'm in lockstep with John again. Sabres got absolutely smoked. Not the Sabres. The Blues got absolutely smoked against the Lightning.
Tomato.
They're 6-10-1 on the road now. So, yeah, same deficit for sure. And same level of competitiveness, especially in the second period. But yeah, the Sabres, God, I keep doing it. The Blues suck on the road. They're 6-10-1 on the road. The Panthers finally back in America, let alone back home. They're reeling right now, but they need a win. This should be a win. I don't see why it's not going to be a win. They're phenomenal at keeping pucks out of the net. The Blues do not score many goals. They're 26 in goals per game. Panthers PKs should shut down the worst power play in the league in St. Louis. If the Blues aren't going to score, the Blues aren't going to win. It's basic math. So I like the Panthers puck line also, and I'm leaning towards the under 6.5.
Yeah. So I'm leaning towards the Panthers puck line as well. I think that's the simplest bet. But like if I start to like overthink it, I start to like think I don't really trust either of these teams. Like, so Florida's 5-game Western road trip. In 3 of those games, they had a combined total of 1 goal. In the other 2, they had a combined total of 10. You know, like I don't really know what to make of what this team's doing right now. St. Louis from December the 2nd to December the 9th, they had 5 games, and in all of them, they scored 3 or less goals. From December the 12th to the 16th, they had 3 games, and they scored 4 goals in each game. Then the last game, they scored 1 goal. So same thing. I don't really know. I'm personally staying away from this game. I do like the puck line, but something is giving me, I don't know, the heebie-jeebies, as they say. Moving on to the team that's going to take John's playoff spot.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I think Nashville, Philadelphia, Philly, minus 115 favorites. Predators are minus 105. On the puck line, -1.5 is +210 for the Flyers. +1.5 is -258 for the Predators. So probably I'm feeling like the puck line's out of play for everybody here. I could be wrong. The over-under is 5.5, -122 for the over, +102 for the under. John, I went with you last time. Andre, what are you thinking in this game?
The total is very interesting to me because it feels like the Predators lately have been feast or famine, both offensively and defensively, where it's like if they're going to give up goals, they're going to give up 5. If they're going to score, they're going to score like 3, 4, 5 plus. There's no 2-1 games. Well, I guess there's the one against the Canadians recently, but other than that, there's not many games in December where Nashville wasn't either scoring 4 plus or giving up 4 plus. It's one or the other. With one notable exception among the few, and that is when they played the Flyers and the final score was 3-2. So both teams are strong in net, good at keeping the puck out of the net. Both teams, well, I guess the Predators' power play is average, but the Flyers have a phenomenal PK. The power play in Philly sucks, so you don't really have to worry about that. I see this being another low-scoring game. The tight money line, it's very interesting because I could see this one going into overtime. If I had to lean aside, I would lean the Predators just a bit. I think they're just playing slightly better. The Flyers are notoriously worse at home. I know the Predators are worse on the road, but 500 on the road is nothing to scoff at. So I'm going to go Predators in the under.
John, what say you?
I say I think I have to start listening to you about the Flyers. I'm gonna take them here. Mark's getting me to a bringing me to a reality point where I have to take the Flyers a little more seriously. I mean, quietly, Philadelphia is the third best team in the Eastern Conference right now, record-wise. Quietly, I haven't seen a lot of talk about them outside of Mark. In terms of Nashville, they've been red hot outside of Tuesday night losing to Vancouver. That's a tough loss against a really good team, so I didn't make much of it. I do find it interesting, despite being 13-4 in their last 17 games, Nashville is an underdog here. But I think that's somewhat of I think that's really two things playing here. One, maybe there's an expectation that Nashville's going to come back down to earth a little bit. The second being giving credit to Philadelphia because, let's face it, they are playing well. I was very impressed that they held the Devils to 2 goals on Tuesday. I expected the Devils to really come out firing in that game, and Philadelphia really contained them. I'll give them a lot of credit. And they're top 6 in the league in goaltending. Andre mentioned the PK. It's fantastic. Special teams is an interesting matchup here because Nashville is 10 percentage points higher on the power play, but Philadelphia is like 9 percentage points higher on the penalty kills. So there's an interesting matchup on both sides there. With that said, I'm leaning towards Philadelphia in a close one. The under is really intriguing to me here. I kind of trust Philadelphia to keep it under. I could see this being like a 3-2 game. I really could. I'm not as confident in that as saying Philadelphia wins this game outright, so I think I'm going to stick with the money line, but I might think about the under too.
Yeah, I almost scared myself away from the under because I was looking through Nashville's games, and like you guys both talked about, 13-4 in their last 17 games. In those 13 wins, they scored less than 3 goals twice. So I was like, man, I think Nashville can win this game. But if the trend keeps moving, does that mean that the over hits too? Because they score 3 or more goals. What I really wish, and like Vegas knows what's up, like let's just be real about it. Like Nashville plus 1.5 being minus 258, that's because that's the best play of this game, in my opinion. I think either way, it's a 1-goal game. But I do I do slightly lean Nashville. But I can't like Philadelphia, that team plays hard to win or lose. And Nashville's the same way. So I'm leaning Nashville, but I think this is like a very underrated good game tonight. Like there's so many games on, and I think this is like low key, like a really good game that I'm gonna have my eye on for sure.
Scrappy.
The only 100%. The only thing that I will throw out there as far as props go, Forsberg has 120 shots over 3.5. He's just around 3.5 average. Over 3.5 is plus 135 on DraftKings. He has 16 goals plus 160 for him to score. O'Reilly has 13 goals plus 220 for him to score. And Tippett, you remember Tippett, John? You remember Mr. Tippett from a couple nights ago? I think you guys are familiar. Owen Tippett. No, the overtime goal, just right over. All right, 11 goals. 11 goals. He scored 3 in his last 5 games, plus 225. The guy's been rolling, plus 225. Like the guy scored 3 goals in his last 5 games. Sorry, John, that was unnecessary.
I must have erased that from my head already. I was drawing a blank.
Picking on you tonight. I'm not sure why. It's probably a me issue more than anything else. All right. Carolina is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is plus 120. At home, Carolina minus 142. The puck line, Carolina minus 1.5 is plus 180, while Pittsburgh is minus 218 for plus 1.5. The over is 6.5, and it is minus 110. Either way you bet it. John, why is Carolina favored so heavily here? I know that they've been rolling the last couple games, and I know Pittsburgh is like hit or miss, but this seems a bit rich, no? Minus 142?
I think this is the toughest game for me that we've talked about yet of the early ones. I mean, I do think Carolina is a better offensive team, and 3.28 goals per game versus Pittsburgh being 2.87, I believe, in the bottom 10 in the league in that category. I mean, I think that Tuesday win against Vegas for Carolina was really big and really telling. It was something I felt like Carolina needed to get back on track after a couple tough losses over the weekend. And I'm not ready to say they're going to pause that momentum yet. But there's nothing, I think the problem is there's nothing betting wise I really love here. Because like the puck line, I don't know if I trust. I'm leaning Carolina to win, but like I think 140 is too rich to bet it. Also, the puck line is like I don't know if I trust Carolina to cover that. I may be tempted to bet the Pittsburgh side of it, but I'm thinking that's too high. Yeah, it's way too high. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I really trust. Maybe a 60-minute Carolina line. I might be tempted for something like that. I'm leaning that way. I do think the Tuesday win was big. I do think they have more upside offensively. I just think I wouldn't do it at minus 140. That's the thing.
Plus 115 on the 60-minute line?
That I think would be the most tempting thing on the board for me. Because even the over-under, I don't have a side. Like, I don't have a lean that way either.
Yo, Andre, you got me looking at that 60-minute line every day now, man. I saw it once in a while, but now you got me. But the problem is then I see like the plus like 352 draw, and I'm like,
it opens up Pandora's box.
It's for sure going to overtime. And then it's 9-4. What do you see in this game, Andre?
I love the over. The Penguins have scored 14 goals in their past 4 home games. They've won 3 of 4. They scored 4 goals in all 3 of those wins, we can ignore the 7-0 loss in Toronto. I know Mark. Well, Mark, you can celebrate it, but
Yes.
yeah, outside of that loss and the 3-game road trip before, like early in the month where they scored 1 goal in all 3 games, the offense has, been fine at home. The offense has been productive at home. And then you're talking about a Canes team I love picking on them when they're on the road. They're 8-10-0 on the road, just -7 goal differential. They've given up 60 goals in 18 games on the road. So I really like the Penguins at home here. They're going to score 3-4 plus goals. I think they can keep Carolina to 3. So I think they're going to win this game 4-3, the Penguins. I truly do. So give me the Penguins money line. Give me a sneaky hit for the over. And that's where I'm at with this game. I don't like Carolina on the road at all.
Yeah, I might just be like, I don't know, blinded by greatness. But Sidney Crosby is like just winning these games by himself. Like I really like what he's doing right now. And I think like I think you said it best, John. Like nothing in the like original lines like really fits if you're gonna bet Carolina. If you want to bet the 60-minute money line, or then that's cool. But I'm with you, Andre. I think Pittsburgh's the play here or nothing. Like I would just kind of stay away. What I do like, and I say this every time every time Pittsburgh plays, you can guarantee that I will throw out, if it's plus money, even if it's minus money, excuse me, Sidney Crosby over 3.5 shots. He has 114 shots on the year. Over 3.5 shots is plus 130. I'm taking that all day. He has 18 goals. For him to score is plus 125. Gensel has 14 goals. He's also plus 125. The only play on the Carolina side that I like is Aho has 12 goals on the year, 4 in the last 5 games. He's heating up, plus 140 for him to score. I like what Carolina's been doing, but I don't trust them still. I got to see more to take anything on their side of things. But I'm riding Pittsburgh. And more importantly, Crosby over 3.5. I love it. That's going to be part of my like 10 player shot prop parlay soon to come on Twitter. All right, moving on to Tampa Bay. Another weird line, another weird game. I was telling the guys before, there's a million games that like it's a tough game betting wise. Tough night betting wise. Vegas is in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay minus 118. Vegas is minus 102. On the puck line, minus 1.5 for Tampa is plus 210. While Vegas is minus 258 for plus 1.5. Over under is 6.5, minus 105 for the over, minus 115 for the under. I love the over here. I know Tampa beat St. Louis 6-1 the other night, but Tampa hasn't been an extremely strong defensive team. They're 28th in goals allowed, and they're both top 10 in goals per game. Vegas, since November 28th, they've played 11 games, 4 or more goals scored in 8 of those 11. 8 of 11, they've scored 4 or more goals. 3 goals once. So I think Vegas is scoring over 3.5 goals for Vegas is plus 140. And I love that bet. When I am faced with a bet where I don't really know sidewise, I can see this kind of going either way. Like Tampa's been one of the most Jekyll and Hyde teams that like you think that they're going to be dope and then they're not, and then you think they're not, then they are. I don't really trust either side necessarily here, but I do trust Vegas to score. Doesn't matter who's in net. I know Vasilevsky, but I just think Tampa Bay's defense has been so weak this year. I really like over 3.5 plus 140. I also like over 6.5, excluding overtime, is plus 120. And I like that bet a lot as well. Kucherov, this is the one that really sticks out to me. Tampa is third on the power play. I know Vegas has a top 10 penalty kill, but that Tampa Bay power play is insane. Kucherov has 24 power play points, plus 110 for him to get a power play point tonight. John, what say you, man?
Oh man, I'm really torn on this one. This is going to be a very interesting matchup, in my opinion. Vegas coming off, quite frankly, a pretty bad loss to Carolina. I don't expect Vegas to come out that flat again, which is what's making this tough for me. I almost wanted to give this the same treatment as I did Philly and Nashville with the line, but I really can't do that here because, like, both of these teams, I feel like get a little inflated when it comes to betting because of reputation. Tampa Bay has a bit of a reputation for being a successful playoff team. Vegas, the defending champs.
Yeah.
Just over the course of the season, I mean, before that loss on Tuesday, Vegas was 7-1-1 in the prior 9. So they've definitely been the hotter team of late. With that said, you touched on it. Tampa's power play has been fantastic this year. Both of these teams are very capable of scoring. But with that said, I think I just trust Vegas's defense and goaltending more. I mean, Tampa's near the bottom of the league, where Vegas is top 6 in goals allowed a game. I think, considering I'm getting Vegas at near even money, I think I have to slightly lean that way. I would put this at the bottom, near the bottom of my list for confidence and picks in today's episode, but I think I'm slightly leaning Vegas with the near even money.
What about you, Andre?
I'm also, I know Tampa's so good at home. Like, they're such a different team at home this year.
Yeah.
But I like John said, I trust Vegas defensively so much more. I trust their goaltending so much more. They're just a flat out better team. If this turns into a shootout, Vegas can keep up. If it's a low scoring game, well, Vegas is going to keep pucks out the net better 9 times out of 10, right? So I have to go with Vegas winning this game, especially at minus 102. That's great odds for them. And I don't like most teams at this spot, like Tampa at home, the minus 118 is beautiful. I just don't think Vegas is one of them. And I like the over also because I just, I see this being like Tampa's going to score at least 3 goals. They're at home. That's what they do.
Yeah.
I see Vegas. If I see Vegas winning, that means they have at least 4. I can see Vegas also, like at the very least, scoring 3 against this Tampa team that struggles to keep pucks out the net. I mean, they allow 3.48 per game. So give me the over. Give me Vegas win.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. All right, moving on to Columbus.
Oh, God.
And listen. Basically the same odds, just reversed as the last game. Columbus minus 102 at home. Washington's minus 118. Listen, I have a question for you guys. All right. Now, maybe Columbus bounced back. Maybe they, I don't know. I don't trust either of these teams. I don't even want to bet anything crazy with it. But I have a question for you guys. Washington goal differential this year is minus 11. They give up 30.89 shots per game. They have 8 players with a plus when it comes to their plus minus. 8. And a bunch at zeros, and then even more in the heavy minuses. What is going on with this team? How are they winning? Like, I don't understand. Like you watch them, and like Ovi still has 104 shots, and he's still doing his thing. He had 5 shots last night. Sorry, I say he's doing his thing. What he's doing is shooting the puck and just staying parked on the power play. He should have been taken off the power play probably weeks ago, in my opinion. They have the worst power play in the league. But like, it's a back-to-back. Columbus, maybe they win this game. But either way, do you guys have any idea how Washington's pulling this off?
Through the powers of Dylan Strome, anything is possible, apparently. So
Apparently.
There's probably one positive thing I could say about Washington, and it's that their goaltending has been solid this year.
Fair.
They're top 10 in the league in goals allowed, so I think that's about the most positive thing I could say about them. Like, they really limit opportunities for other teams to strike. And I think they need to, quite frankly, considering how bad their offense is this year. I do believe, like, just to touch on your point with Washington technically has a playoff spot right now. I think they're the team I would be the most shocked to see keep that spot by the time we play all 82.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's Christmas.
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
You're still, you know what I mean? What about you, Andre?
Well, I think it's funny John brought up the goaltending because he's absolutely right. But even then, Darcy Kemper has most of their starts. He has over half their starts.
Right.
He's the worst goalie on the roster statistically. Charlie Lindgren and Hunter Shepard in his 2 appearances, both were better, or both have been better. Charlie Lindgren especially has looked really good. So it's just a wacky team. They find ways to win. And I'm not picking. I know they played last night. I'm not picking against them. Like, you can't. they just do it.
Yeah.
I think in this game, what I love most is the under.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because mainly for 2 reasons. One, Washington played last night, an overtime game nonetheless, against a scrappy Islanders team. And Washington, I think, like 4 of their last 5 games have gone under. So they're on a nice little run there. 2, I believe in balance in life. Columbus scored 9 goals on Tuesday. And now now they're going up against Washington, a team that generally plays low-scoring games. I think Washington's going to be a little tired in this game, and Columbus just needs to come back down to earth. I'm all over this under. I think it's 6 last time I saw. So I like 100. That. It's an interesting matchup in that Washington's a bottom 3 offensive team and Columbus is a bottom 3 goaltending team. But I still trust Washington not to put up a lot of goals despite that. I don't know. I think the under is my favorite play here.
I agree with you. I think I just realized something about Columbus. They seem to be like a sponge of whoever they play, where it's like they just mutate their game for that night to be a mirror of the other team.
I don't like
like if they play like the Bruins, it's going to be like a 3-1 game. If they play the Sabres, it's going to be 9-4. Stuff like that.
That's so funny. I love that. Well, the Leaf game, right? They scored 5 goals in like the first 2 periods.
Yep.
Exactly.
It would fit in considering you're near the bottom of the standings.
Yeah, I like the under too. I think if Washington wins this game, it's going to be under. Either way, I feel way more confident. I think last I saw the 60-minute line for Washington's plus 115. But I would just rather bet the under. I think that's a good play for tonight. All right. Spent way too long talking about Columbus. Your time to shine, John. What did you call it? The Connor McDavid tour or like holiday vacation? Or
yes, they call it his
tour. McDavid holiday tour, something.
Yeah, something like that. Holiday, yeah.
That's hilarious. So the McDavid vacation is on its way to New Jersey because, no disrespect, when you want to go on vacation, you want to go to New Jersey, of all places.
To Newark of all places.
To Newark of all. That's what. Yeah, that's the idea. Although I am going to New Jersey for Super Bowl weekend, so
Oh, nice.
can't.
Nice.
Yeah, whether the Eagles win or lose, and so if they lose, then I'm just going to New Jersey.
They're not
Yeah,
making
yeah.
it.
If they do, sorry, if they don't, then it's just gonna be a bunch of Eagles fans who are just angry, just like eating a lot of food, watching whoever makes it to the Super Bowl. Probably just San Fran like by themselves. They're just playing. They're just there by themselves. All right, Edmonton is in New Jersey. Minus 110 either way. The odds have changed. It's minus 110 both ways. The over is 7 at minus 108 for the over and minus 112 for the under. Minus 1.5 for New Jersey is plus 210. Plus 1.5 for the Oilers is minus 258. John, take it away, man. What are you seeing in this game?
Oh man. Okay. So I'm glad you touched on the over because I feel the exact opposite about this game that I did the last game. Give me the over here. Do not be scared by the 7. And I'm going to tell you why. These two teams feel like a mirror image of each other. I'm telling you. They have offensive firepower on both sides. The Devils have the top power play in the league, top 10 scoring. Edmonton has the star power to match. And both of these teams struggle with goaltending. I mean, this is an issue for both teams this year. And yet both of these teams come into this game in kind of having a similar problem. They've been shut down their last game or two heading into this. The Oilers have scored one goal in their last game against the Islanders. The Devils have scored one or two goals in each of their last 2 games. Both of these teams, in my opinion, are due to strike. Both of these teams are due to have a big night offensively. And they don't really have the defense and goaltending to neutralize each other. So I think this is going to be a track meet on both sides. Both of these teams are, in my opinion, heavily due to have a big number. I'm expecting like a 6-5 game here. It should be a wild night. I think the bet I like more than anything in this game is the over.
I strongly agree with you. Andre, are you on the same page or are you a Lone Ranger doing your own thing?
We're all on the same page. The 7 is just there to try to scare people away. But there's a reason that all 3 of us at various points have said that these teams are pretty much the same thing, just different parts of the continent. And it's not because they clog the neutral zone. They score. They don't play defense. They don't stop pucks from going into the net. And they do it at a high speed. Like it's just up and down track meet style. So I agree wholeheartedly. I know the Oilers have had consecutive games with only 1 goal. I know that the Devils have had 3 of their past 4 where they haven't, 4 of their past 5, where they didn't even reach 3 goals. But the Devils are the perfect team to break out against offensively. The Oilers are the perfect team to break out against offensively. Put them together, and I think 6-5 is spot on. I see this one maybe overtime, but
networks aren't going to have a problem with the highlight reel tonight.
Yeah, that's an absolute fact. I wouldn't be. This is definitely going to be a double-digit goal game. As far as the side, I think the sides are even. Exactly at this point. I think it's both minus 110.
Yeah.
I would lean Devils just because they're home. And for what it's worth, I think they've been playing a little bit better than the Oilers lately.
Yeah, I'll take it one step further. And the problem with this game for me is both these teams need to lay the beat down. Like both these teams need to wake up and both these teams need to win this game. And I think that's what makes this a really fun game. Excuse me. It's what makes me a little bit nervous of that 7 is like maybe both teams need this game so badly that they kind of tighten it up a little bit. Psych. These 2 defenses are not playing well and the goaltenders are like, who knows what's about to happen. 27th goals against for the Oilers, 29th goes against for the Devils. Like, they're going to try to tighten it up, but I just don't see that happening. The one really interesting thing about this game for me, not the one, there's like 1,000 fascinating parts of this game.
Yeah.
Both these power plays are top 5 in the league, and both these penalty kills are in the bottom 10 of the league.
Oh boy,
Like,
a lot of special teams play tonight.
yeah, man. Like, those power play points, as I basically say every Devils game, Hughes has 17 power play points plus 154. Bratt has 18 power play points plus 170. I really like the Devils over 4.5 plus 195. And I also could be tempted to take the Devils 60-minute line. And I also, maybe I'm biased from being here. I don't know. If I have to trust one of these defenses and I have to trust one of these goaltending situations, I'm trusting the Devils, and I'm also kind of tempted to take the puck line, to be honest with you. Like, plus 210, you're talking what, a 6-4 game? Like, that doesn't seem crazy to me. Like, I can see it being 5-4, and with 45 seconds left, the empty netter. Like, I think the Devils are going to come out, and I think they're going to win this hockey game, and I think they're going to win it by 2 goals. I mean, the Canucks are on, or the Canucks. We're talking about them next, and I just can't wait. So I'm jumping the gun. But the Oilers are on a 3-game losing streak, and in those, in the last 2 games, they have 2 goals combined, and I just think the Devils are in a better spot. They're at home. Like, the Oilers are like taking the subway all over Manhattan, and it's not a good place for them right now. And I think the Devils, I'm all over the Devils in this game. Is there any final thoughts, John?
I would be very tempted to bet something on Jack Hughes tonight. I'm feeling strong redemption after basically losing the game Tuesday night.
Yeah, great point. Excellent point. I would recommend his shot total, but I bet his shot total almost every night, and it's getting a bit frustrating. He's getting one shot. He either gets 7 shots or 0, and it drives me insane. All right, moving on to what, in my opinion, is the game of the night. I think it's up there at least. Vancouver is in Dallas. Vancouver's plus 120. Oh, it's changed. They're now plus 110. Luckily, I already got them at plus 120. Spoiler alert. Plus 110, Vancouver. Minus 130 now for Dallas. The over-under is 6.5. Plus 100 for the over. Minus 120 for the under. The puck line for Dallas, minus 1.5, is plus 170. Plus 1.5 for Vancouver is minus 205. Andre, where are you sitting in this game?
At first, I was feeling really good about the Stars here, especially when you said the odds dropped to minus 130. I was like, they're at home. It's a really good team. Like, this is a good spot for them. And then I looked through their game log, and when they play top teams, specifically in the Western Conference, they're not succeeding at all. I think I just got to go through the splits real quick. They're 0-1-2 against Vegas. They lost to Vancouver the only time they played them. They lost to Colorado the only time they played them. I think they lost to the Bruins. I know it's not Western Conference, but it's another tough team. They lost to the Panthers. Like, their losses are coming against the good teams. The Maple Leafs, forgot to throw them in there. And what is Vancouver, besides a team that's already beaten them? One of the best teams in the league. A team that we love against the money line. They're 2-0-1 in this road trip. They lost the first game in OT, or in a shootout. So they're not phased by the road right now. They're playing well. They have wins in 6 of their last 7. It's not broke. I'm not gonna try to fix it. I'm taking the Canucks money line. It's a moneymaker.
I love it. I love it. What about you, John? You on board?
Mark, what's our number one rule on this show since we've done this podcast the last couple of weeks?
I mean, it's betting Vancouver. It's also Quinn Hughes power play point, but I don't think that's where that's where I'm.
You're onto it. If you get Vancouver at plus money, take it.
Yeah.
Take it. I'm all over Vancouver here tonight. I really like them. And what Andre said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Vancouver, we're talking about the top team in the league in goals per game, the second team in goals allowed per game. Dallas going to have their hands full tonight. They're a very good team, Dallas. Usually they're in almost every matchup they've played this year, they've typically had the advantage with goaltending. Although I feel like they've fallen off a little bit lately since the start of the year. Yeah, they definitely have. But I don't think Dallas is prepared for a team like Vancouver. The one thing that does concern me is the penalty kill between these two teams. Dallas is much better in that category.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the one argument I could make for Dallas in this game. But I just truthfully, I trust Vancouver quite a bit. Been very high on them this year. And like honestly, Vancouver at plus money just has not hurt me yet. I feel like this is just something you got to keep pushing until it stops making money. At the end of the day, Vancouver's put up the stats to back it up. They've put up the money to back it up. I like Vancouver plus money tonight.
What bothers me about this line is not that Vancouver is underdogs, because the reality is, like, Dallas is a very good team and they're at home. I can understand it, all right? But we're seeing like Tampa Bay minus 118 favorites at home with Vegas minus 102. So there is part of me that's like, why? Like, I don't know. Dallas minus 142 favorited. Like, Dallas favorited, yes. But I just feel like these lines are giving Vancouver disrespect every single game. And I don't understand it. I'm sure I could deep dive it and the sharps will tell me blah, 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 blah. But as like a guy who watches hockey every single night, all night long, and like, I don't understand why Dallas is so heavily favored. Do we know? That is completely my fault. Do you guys know if Ottinger is playing tonight, or is he still hurt?
Don't know offhand.
Because if he's still hurt,
but it's not a long-term injury. I don't know if he's coming back tonight.
He's week to week apparently.
Yeah, so if it looks like he's not playing tonight, then even more what the heck? Like, even more, like, you know what I mean? I think if we're talking about how close these two teams are, heard and understood, Vancouver's goaltending, even with Ottinger in the net, Vancouver's goaltending is better, just plain and simple. And I think Vancouver wins this game. I absolutely love the money line, and like I said, I already have it at plus 120. So ha nah. So, but the other side of this too is, I think it's the underplay. If I remember correctly, under 6.5, that's minus 120. I like, don't you guys see this being like, I don't know, 4-2, like 3-2, I guess 4-3. That's 6.5 is like perfectly placed. Where do you guys fall on the over?
I'm leaning more towards the under. It really depends on Dallas more than anything. I see
Yeah.
Vancouver at most giving up 3 goals, probably like 2. So it really just depends on what happens to Dallas in that to me.
Pretty much exactly where I stand. I probably wouldn't bet the total, but I'd lean under if you're asking me to have to pick a side.
Yeah. Just real quickly, as I always do, Besser, Peterson, Hughes, Pedersen, Hughes, Miller. If you have FanDuel, go and bet their 3+ shot totals, all of them. are all like averaging either just be low 3 shots or above 3 shots. On DraftKings though, Quinn Hughes over 2.5 shots is a plus 110, and over 2.5 shots for JT Miller is minus 110. So either way, I like both those shot totals. Besser to score plus 155. Pedersen to score plus 160. On the Dallas side, Robertson to score plus 170. And I've been hammering this home the last few Dallas games. This is the only disparity that heavily favorites Dallas. They have the 10th best power play in the league, and Vancouver 25th best penalty kill. Robertson, 11 power play points, he's plus 210. Hintz, 9 power play points, he's plus 310. And Pavelski, 9 power play points, he's plus 195. So if you want exposure on Dallas, but you're not really trusting the money line, puck line, I think those power play points are beautiful. I just want to talk about Vancouver for the rest of the show. But we're gonna go north.
Just
what
Mark,
you gonna say?
that list you sent us earlier. Do you know the 2 teams that put themselves as on the most annoying fan base list? Offhand,
I didn't look that deep. I just saw a bunch of Maple Leafs and laughed.
I laughed because Vancouver put themselves at 3rd, and then Montreal put themselves at 2nd.
Did they really?
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's and that checks out. Like Vancouver fans, like they'll hate their team as soon as they can.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And if you don't know what we're referring to, I'll retweet it. I sent the boys a list of the fan bases that I don't know. Help me.
The most hated teams by each fan base.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good way to explain it. And what was funny about it was the Leafs were either the like number 1 hated or second like most hated by pretty much every fan base except for like the Kraken or something like that.
Kraken, yeah.
Yeah, but they haven't been around long enough to hate us.
They
and
don't
I
know
was
yet.
and I was joking around with the guys like I hate the Cowboys, I hate the Yankees, and I'm just over here just completely like no self-awareness that the entire NHL hates me. I had no idea. All right, going over to Minnesota. Montreal is in Minnesota, minus 180. Minnesota's favorited. Montreal is plus 150. On the puck line, minus 1.5. The Wild are plus 142. Plus 1.5 is minus 170. The over is 6 at minus 112, and the under is minus 108. Andre, where are you leaning in this game, bro?
Am I crazy for thinking that
No.
the Canadians could win 3 in a row?
No.
Just because that's kind of where I'm leaning. I know the Wild have been playing better since they fired their coach, and they've won 4 or 5, and they're back home, and yada, yada, yada. But this Canadians team, they're competitive for sure. They're fighters. They've won their last.
We lost him for a second.
Did Andre freeze on us?
Man down. I was in the middle of a deep Montreal monologue.
I was gonna say,
I was just,
love
am I
it.
here?
Go ahead.
All right, cool. I was gonna say the offense is playing better. At least 3 goals in 3 straight, 11 total in those 3 games. Goaltending has been better and competitive since December 9th. They've only allowed more than 3 goals once since then. Just mentioned they won their last 2. They've been better on the road all season. They're 7-4-2 on the road, so that's half their wins. Only 6 of their 17 losses. And then I know the Wild have been playing better also lately. I know they've won 4 or 5. I know they're finally back home. But I just like what Montreal's doing right now more. I really do. So I'm going to take the Canadiens money line. And I'm going to lean under here.
Mm.
Going to lean under. Not confidently on that one, but that's where I'm at with this game.
I agree with you on both sides. I think the under is the play here for me because I believe that Montreal is going to win this game. And Montreal, 4 out of the last 5 games have been 1-score games. It doesn't matter if they win or they lose lately. It's like 1-score games. And I don't see them like scoring like, 4, 5, 6 like goals, right? I can see this 100% being 2-1, maybe 3-2. Like this is a low scoring game. I love Montreal here. Just a little fun prop. Caulfield, 114 shots on the year, over 3.5 is -110. So I like that bet. And it's really funny, man. Like Canadian hockey is so much more fun when Montreal is playing well. And like I am a Leafs fan and we're supposed to hate Montreal. But my late grandmother, um, God rest her soul, she was from Montreal, huge Habs fan. So I'm like the rare Toronto Maple Leaf fan that like wants to see Montreal do well. And they're in like a really weird spot right now in the sense that anything they do is awesome. Like they have a lot of really good young players. So if they win and miss the playoffs, then you're beginning to see the kind of finishing touches kind of round out. But if they suck, then they're just getting more pieces to add to the rebuild. So they're in like this like kind of beautiful middle sweet spot. And I love what this team's doing. I also really like what Minnesota's doing right now. I think they're playing really well. I just think this is a tough spot for them. They've had a couple big wins over the last couple days. But I think Minnesota is due for a little bit of a drop off. So I'm taking Montreal plus 150 all day long. John, what say you?
We're going to sweep an average Montreal team as a pick.
Love it. Love it.
I love it.
I think you guys brought up a lot of good points about both of these teams. I'll add one more thing. I don't like the schedule at all for Minnesota.
Yeah.
And this is going to be their 3rd game in 4 days. That by itself doesn't bother me, but I'm looking at the last 2 games they played as well. Tuesday night was a tough overtime game against Boston that they squeaked out. The night before, Monday night, was the infamous Pittsburgh game where Crosby won it, but kind of ruined an underplay there with Minnesota scoring 3 goals in the second period and doing nothing else the rest of the game. The point being, I feel like Minnesota's used up a lot of energy these last couple of days, and the travel's been hectic. Like Pittsburgh, Boston, now coming back to Minnesota. Montreal hasn't played since Monday, and that Monday game was a strange win against the Jets. So I feel like Montreal's rested, feeling better about themselves. And also the line, I don't like what the lines say about Minnesota for this game. I mean, that 180 scares me right off the bat. And this should, I think an average bettor would be like Minnesota's a strong favorite to win the game, right? But like looking at the puck line, that doesn't seem to be the case. You can get the puck line at Minnesota at plus 140. We talked about this just last night with LA having a very similar situation against Seattle. And LA lost the game outright. Even a couple days ago when Buffalo was a big favorite against Columbus, look what happened to them. I don't I don't trust the line trend that's being stated here for Minnesota. Also, don't like their schedule. So I think with all those things said, I'm on Montreal. Also like the under too. I find it interesting it's at 6 compared to some of these other lines. I do think what your under trend for Montreal is. Sorry, can't get my words right here. I like the under trend for Montreal, and I also like the fact that Minnesota is probably going to be a little tired coming into this game. Just hopefully there's not a lot of power plays because both of these teams have bad penalty kills, like around 73%, I think, for both.
Yeah.
So I think as long as we can avoid power plays, I like the under here.
Excellent points on the travel. I think that matters. Montreal being home since like late Monday night, I think that definitely matters. All right, moving on to this next game, and I honestly don't have a whole lot to say. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Ottawa is in Colorado in what is a brutal road trip for them so far, and it's not over. It was minus 170 for Colorado when I was preparing. It's now minus 175. People are seeing what I'm seeing. Ottawa is plus 145. The over-under is 6.5. The over is minus 142 for the over for this game, which in my opinion means people think that Colorado is going to spank them like 8-2. The under is plus 120. On the puck line, minus 1.5 is plus 136. Plus 1.5 for Ottawa is minus 162. Here's the thing. Ottawa I do believe that with this new coaching staff, that you give it a few weeks after the new year, I think they're going to be a new team and a good defensive team. I do not think that time is now. This team is fragile. Anything goes wrong and they completely crumble. They're giving up leads left, right, and center. I would be interested in a Colorado come from behind to win bet. I think that's interesting, but I'm just going to go straight up with that puck line. I'm taking Colorado on the puck line. 60-minute lines minus 125, and I'll take that as well. Also on the side, if I could get over 4.5 for Colorado plus 150, and just leave the menu because I might be interested in over 5.5 at plus 320. Colorado lost to Chicago the other day, and you got Taves calling the team out like we talked about the other day, saying some people here think they're playing great. Well, they're not, and we need to smarten up. Cale Makar's back from injury tonight. I think that this is an awful spot for Ottawa. I think not only are they mentally fragile and they're on this road trip and their coaching staff completely switched halfway through, I also think Colorado's mad. Like, they haven't been playing great. They just lost to the worst team. I know I said short and sweet, but I got started, and now I'm just Colorado by a million, man. I just don't think this is a good spot for Ottawa. John, agree, disagree? Well, I don't even have props for this game, dude. Just pick Colorado, like, I don't know, puck line like minus 5.5, the alternate puck line minus 5.5. What do you see here, John?
I got to be honest, Ottawa's not worth my time, so I'm keeping this short. I think if there's anything
that was cold-hearted, bro.
Wow.
They lost 5 in a row. Colorado lost outright to Chicago here. Take the puck line. Take the Colorado puck line. I'm done. Andre, go.
Well, hold on, though. Shout out to Ottawa. You have excellent routine. One of my favorite bars ever. That's not there anymore. Zaphod's. I will remember you forever. John's just talking about your hockey team. Don't take it personal.
Yeah, I'm definitely talking about the hockey team.
The hockey team's like 20 miles away from Ottawa anyway. So anyway, Andre,
we have to check out the capital.
I don't even know how to follow you two up. Brady Kachuk's going to score. It's not going to matter. I love the Avalanche 60-minute line. Give it to me.
Yeah.
At that minus 120, minus 125, whatever it was. It seems like the Avalanche just score a ton of goals after these letdown games. Philly held them to 2. They responded with 6. Winnipeg held them to 2. They responded with 6. They have 17 goals in their last 3 home games. They play way better at home. Ottawa, 3-7 on the road. Yeah. Colorado all day.
All day. And you made a very good point about Brady Tkachuk, talking about him to score and all that. That's the other thing, is he needs to stop trying to kill everyone and just like play hockey. Like, he's trying his best to motivate his team and get his team rolling. They like, he needs to cut that out and just like win a hockey game. All right. Moving to, I'm actually pretty looking forward to this game. We may be the only 3 people in North America who actually want to watch this game. But Arizona minus 155 is in San Jose plus 130, which I think was pretty respectable for San Jose. Like, Arizona's a pretty good hockey team, and plus 130, like, hey, good for you, San Jose. That plus is starting to come down a little bit. The over is 6, minus 118 for the over, plus 160 for the puck line for the Coyotes. For the puck line for San Jose side, plus 1.5 is minus 192. John, you got anything crazy for this game, man? Besides the Sharks money line, I know. Yeah.
I think it's time to whip out the baby shark. Da, da, da. I like them tonight. I like them. They're on a 3-game losing streak. Coyotes are on a 3-game winning streak. I think it's time for a little balance. Sharks, I think, are a much better home team than a road team, too. They're god awful on the road, like 3-13-1 this year. Home, I'm not saying they're great at home, but they have double the amount of home wins that they do road wins. So if they're going to win a game, it's usually in the Shark Tank. I do kind of like the Sharks in this matchup. We've talked about Arizona being a gritty team that we don't fully trust. I mean, do we trust them to sweep the Sharks, or like this season to win every single game they play against them? I'm not sure. I think they can be had, in my opinion. I mean, they're not a great team. The Coyotes average like 3 goals a game. Their penalty kills under 80%. I know the Sharks are even worse, but my point is, I feel like the Coyotes can be had. This feels like a game where they snap the losing streak and get the win. Maybe look at the under too. I mean, it seems like it's been friendly in Sharks games of late. I see this being a low-scoring Sharks win.
What about you, Andre?
I think the under is going to end up being my lock of the day. Besides the fact that these teams just met and it was a 1-0 game in Tempe, I've said it. I think I said it last time we talked about the Sharks. You take away the 2 10-goal games at home like a month or 2 ago, and they're only allowing 2.27 goals per game at home. Like, the games in the tank have been low scoring. They've been tight. That's when the Sharks compete, like we love to point out. So I think the under 6 at the minus 102 is beautiful value. I think I'm going to take that. And I'd like the Sharks winning tonight.
Boom.
They competed in Tempe. They're home. They played way better at home. They know they can keep the Yotes off the scoreboard. The question is, can they score this time? I know Arizona's good defensively, good at goaltending, but I think they can scratch 1 or 2. And I think 2 is enough to win this game. So give me the Sharks going under. You're muted, bro.
Sorry, my kid is having a field day over here. I had to press that mute button. What's the odds for 2-1 Sharks?
The final score?
Yeah. Find that while I'm
You want with or without OT?
Oh, that's a great question. Without, it's going to be a nail biter without OT.
Excluding OT, a Sharks 2-1 win is plus 2,500.
Done. Love it.
I could see this being 2-1. I really could.
Yeah, I'm a little bit biased right now. For whatever reason, I've been watching a lot of Coyotes hockey, and I really like the way that they're playing. I do like the Sharks here. I do agree with everything you guys said. There's just something about the fight in that team that I like. So it's kind of scaring me off the Sharks. But I do see what you're saying. The bet that's probably hit for me the most this year is Keller 3+ shots. If you can find, I think over 2.5 right now is pretty heavy minus money on DK. But if you're on FanDuel, Keller 3+ shots. And parlay that parlay that with Sidney Crosby, and you'll just do that every night and you'll do fine. So that's my favorite bet from that game. Man, I want to sweep the board with you guys and take San Jose. I do agree with everything you're saying. I think it is going to be a really close game. But the Yotes, I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting away from it. All right. What a show. We've been talking for forever. Best bets time.
Mark, I appreciate you so much for skipping Calgary. I did not want to talk about them.
Oh, did I?
Yeah,
no.
Calgary.
It's fine.
That's so funny.
I was picking the Ducks anyway, so thank you.
I was going to pick the Ducks too. I'll just quickly say it.
I didn't want to talk about them. I hate talking about Calgary.
It's funny that I missed that because I actually wrote this down, okay? Flames have won 2 in a row. They have outscored their opponents 7-3. They have won 3 games since December the 2nd. And 2 of those have been the last 2 games. The Anaheim Ducks have won 2 in a row. They have outscored their opponents 9-4 in the last 2 games. They have also won 3 games since December the 2nd. That's who the Calgary Flames are. People who want to think that this team might fight back and make it to the playoffs, I'm putting my foot down. I love Calgary. It's a great city. Much like John not talking about your city. The Flames are the Ducks. And let's all pick the Ducks and keep it nice and simple. Henrique has scored 6 goals in the last 5 games, plus 275. All right. Done. My bad. I was like, yeah, we've been talking a long time. Calgary,
I appreciate it so much. All they do is burn me.
I love it. What's your best bet for the night, Andre?
Going back to the under in the tank. Under 6.
Oh, that's
Phoenix,
right.
Great goaltending team up against the worst offense in the league. The Sharks take away those 2 10-goal games. Phenomenal defensive and goaltending play at home. The under tends to hit in their home games. Give it to me. Under 6.
Love it. What do you got, John?
It involves my team. Audience, don't be scared of that over. Don't be afraid to pound it. The Devils and the Oilers are such a mirror image of each other, and both on scoring droughts that with the offensive talent both of these teams have combined, they're just so due to strike tonight. I think we said this earlier. I'm kind of expecting a double-digit game for goal total here. Give me that Devils Oilers over 7.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna go a little bit off the board. It is a bet that I gave out at the beginning. I think there's so many games tonight that are just we might feel strongly one way or the other. But I do think there's a lot like this. This is a crazy night in the NHL. I'm going back to the first game that we had. The Leafs are in Buffalo for their yearly home game in Buffalo. And Levi is in net. For him to give up over 3.5 goals is plus 120. And I know that that's a kind of a bold best bet, but I can't. I can see the Leafs losing, but I can't see them scoring less than 4 goals tonight. So give me Levi giving up over 3.5 at plus 120.
It is hilarious that that's your over goals against best bet pick, because the only other time we've done that was also a Sabres goalie. It was Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen like a week ago. It's the only other time we've ever talked about a goalie, like a goalie prop.
That's so, yeah, man. Like, listen, I love Vancouver to win tonight, but Dallas is a good team. Like, I can see that going, like, but I just, you're telling me, what are you the most sure about? Buffalo will give up 4 goals. I can guarantee that. I'd bet my house on it.
Yeah, so the odds are plus 739, by the way.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
We're back.
We're back, baby. Yeah, got a bit aggressive with the 1100. Got a bit aggressive. I love it. Best bets are brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Like I said at the beginning of the show, up until January the 4th, First Round Collectibles has thousands of sports cards. I'm not exaggerating. Thousands. Up to 50% off. Get an additional 50%, or sorry, 10%. They're awesome. 50% is a bit aggressive, but they're giving you an extra 10% off on all their discounted prices. Just enter the code SPORTSADDICT at firstroundcollectibles.com. Gentlemen, have a wonderful night. Enjoy all the hockey. We will see you tomorrow for our last show before Christmas, gents. My year flown by.
Gotta go out with a bang tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Maybe we'll talk a little Giants Eagles, eh?
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.